Imagine spending 5 full days every year doing absolutely nothing but sitting in traffic, not commuting, just sitting, motionless, burning fuel and watching the clock. That's the reality for drivers in Metro Manila, where urban planning didn't just fail, it spectacularly combusted. Welcome to a city where streets designed for musketeers now choke on 3 million cars, where the ground literally sinks beneath people's feet, and where a brilliant 1905 master plan gathered dust while chaos took the wheel. This is the story of how one of Asia's most promising capitals became a cautionary tale in urban design. The seeds of Manila's disaster were planted over 4 centuries ago, long before anyone imagined the modern metropolis that would struggle to breathe within those ancient boundaries. In 1571, Spanish conquistador Miguel López de Legazpi laid out Intramuros within the walls, following the rigid grid system Spain perfected in the New World. Picture a compact fortress city covering just 67 hectares, wrapped in stone ramparts 40 feet thick. The design was brilliant for its time, with wide plazas, strategic fortifications, and streets oriented to catch bay breezes. There was just one problem. It was built for a world of horse-drawn carriages, merchant ships, and a population measured in thousands, not millions. The Spanish never planned for Manila to grow beyond those walls. The laws of the Indies, codified in 1573, prescribed exact dimensions for plazas, churches, and government buildings, creating a rigid urban skeleton that would haunt the city for centuries. As Intramuros filled to capacity, suburbs sprouted haphazardly outside the gates, chaotic settlements without sewers, without planning, without any connection to a larger vision. By the time Americans seized control in 1898, Manila was already straining against its colonial corset. But here's where the story takes its first dramatic turn. When American architect Daniel Burnham arrived in Manila in December 1904, he saw an opportunity to transform the overcrowded Spanish colonial outpost into a gleaming city beautiful. Burnham wasn't just any architect. He had reimagined Chicago and was crafting plans for Washington, D.C. and San Francisco. His vision for Manila was breathtaking. Radial boulevards radiating from monumental civic centers, a network of canals inspired by Venice, waterfront promenades along Manila Bay, and interconnected parks that would give every neighborhood access to green space. The plan proposed filling Intramuros's moat, creating tree-lined avenues, and establishing grand vistas between the urban core and developing periphery. It was a blueprint for paradise. Then reality intervened, as it so often does. Burnham spent exactly 6 weeks in the Philippines studying the city, 6 weeks to design the future of a nation's capital. The plan, submitted in June 1905, was ambitious to the point of fantasy. Some elements were built: Dewey Boulevard along the waterfront, Burnham Park, a few of those wide ceremonial avenues. But the comprehensive vision? It died slowly, strangled by funding shortages, political resistance, and the practical challenges of displacing thousands of residents. By the 1930s, momentum had stalled completely. The Grand Burnham Plan became Manila's greatest what if, a tantalizing glimpse of the city it could have been. Instead, destiny handed Manila something far worse: total destruction. Between February 3rd and March 3rd, 1945, the Battle of Manila reduced the city to rubble. American and Japanese forces transformed the capital into a killing field, with artillery fire and deliberate arson obliterating entire neighborhoods. Intramuros, with its magnificent Spanish Baroque churches and centuries-old stone buildings, was leveled. When the smoke cleared, Manila ranked as the second most destroyed Allied capital of World War II, surpassed only by Warsaw. The death toll exceeded 100,000 civilians. Here's the kicker. This catastrophe could have been Manila's fresh start. With most structures demolished and streets erased, urban planners had a blank canvas. Tokyo used its post-war reconstruction to build subway systems and modern infrastructure. European cities rebuilt with coordinated master plans. Manila? It improvised. Desperate refugees and returning residents built wherever rubble offered footing. Plywood shanties sprouted along estero banks. Warehouses rose beside schools. Informal settlements mushroomed without permits, without planning. without any consideration for future growth. By 1948, Manila's population density had climbed to 11,176 people per square kilometer, and it was just getting started. The government's solution to Manila's overcrowding was to start fresh somewhere else. In 1939, President Manuel Quezon signed Commonwealth Act 502, creating Quezon City on undeveloped land northeast of Manila. American architect Harry Frost, working with Filipino architect Juan Arellano, designed an elegant plan inspired by Burnham's original vision. Wide avenues radiating from a massive elliptical circus where the Capitol building would stand, rotundas at major intersections, and ample green space. Quezon City officially became the national capital in 1948, and for 27 years, it held that distinction. But Quezon City's rise didn't solve Manila's problems. It simply created new ones. Government offices migrated to the new capital, yet commerce, culture, and millions of residents stayed in old Manila. The two cities developed as awkward siblings, connected by inadequate roads that became perpetual bottlenecks. And then came the decision that sealed Metro Manila's fate. In 1975, President Ferdinand Marcos issued Presidential Decree 824, creating Metropolitan Manila, a sprawling region combining Manila, Quezon City, and 15 other cities and municipalities into a single metropolitan area. On paper, this made sense. Manila's urban problems didn't respect municipal boundaries. Traffic, flooding, pollution, these required coordinated solutions. But here's where Marcos's plan revealed its fatal flaw. Metro Manila wasn't given a real government. Instead, the Metropolitan Manila Commission, later renamed the Metropolitan Manila Development Authority, was created as a coordinating body with virtually no enforcement power. Think about that for a moment. Metro Manila, home to over 13 million people spanning 17 separate local government units, each with its own mayor, its own budget, its own priorities, and no authority capable of compelling them to cooperate. One city might widen a road, but it dead ends at the next municipality's boundary. One jurisdiction implements strict building codes. Its neighbor allows whatever developers want. Transportation planning, flood control, air quality management, all fractured across competing political fiefdoms. This isn't just bad governance, it's urban planning in handcuffs. The results are staggering. Let's start with traffic, because nothing captures Manila's dysfunction quite like its legendary gridlock. Metro Manila drivers waste 103 to 117 hours per year sitting in traffic. That's nearly 5 days annually of pure, unproductive misery. The average travel time to cover just 10 kilometers? 25 minutes and 30 seconds. During rush hour, traffic crawls at 15 to 19 kilometers per hour, barely faster than a brisk jog. A 2017 study by the Japan International Cooperation Agency calculated that traffic congestion costs the Philippine economy 3.5 billion pesos daily. That's 1.27 trillion pesos annually, drained from productivity, wasted in fuel, lost to a transportation system that doesn't work. Why is Manila's traffic so catastrophically bad? The problems layer upon each other like sediment in a polluted river. Start with the roads themselves. Only 27% of Manila's streets meet minimum width codes. Many thoroughfares trace routes laid out in the 16th century, when the widest vehicles were ox carts. Fire trucks must reverse into blocks too narrow to turn around. Ambulances lose critical minutes navigating dead ends that shouldn't exist in a modern city. The Metro Manila road network provides just 1 kilometer of road for every 424 vehicles, grotesquely inadequate for a region with 3.82 million vehicles on the road daily. Public transportation should be the solution, but it's been neglected to the point of collapse. The MRT Line 3, running along EDSA, Metro Manila's main artery, was designed to carry 350,000 passengers daily. It regularly shuttles over 500,000, with recent peaks reaching 504,000. Overcrowding is suffocating. In 2021, the system suffered 52 breakdowns in just 10 months. Riders queue for hours, pack into cars with broken air conditioning, and pray they reach their destination without another mechanical failure. The LRT lines fare little better, running on deferred maintenance with trains decades past their retirement date. Then there's the jeepney crisis. An entire transportation system caught in bureaucratic crossfire. Jeepneys, those vibrant, overcrowded minibuses converted from surplus U.S. military jeeps after World War II, carry 8.9 million riders daily across Metro Manila. They're cultural icons, sure, but most run on 21-year-old diesel engines that belch toxic exhaust. The government's modernization program demands operators replace their vehicles with new units meeting Euro 4 emission standards. Sounds reasonable, except those new vehicles cost 2.4 million pesos each, and the government subsidy covers only 10% of that. Drivers earning roughly 2,000 pesos daily, about $36, can't possibly afford the loan payments. The result? Strikes, protests, and a transportation system in limbo, while millions of commuters suffer. Relief is supposedly coming. The Metro Manila subway, groundbreaking in 2019, promises 33 kilometers of underground rail connecting Valenzuela to Pasay, with a spur to the international airport. It's being financed by a 488.5 billion peso loan from Japan, and it's billed as the project of the century. Current estimates suggest partial opening around 2032, if construction proceeds without further delays. Meanwhile, right-of-way disputes continue plaguing the project. As of late 2025, 75% of land acquisition issues have been resolved, with the government targeting 95% by year's end. But veteran Manila watchers know better than to trust deadlines. While everyone's stuck in traffic, the ground beneath their feet is literally sinking. A metropolitan government created without power, local officials who treat city planning as optional, and always millions of residents who deserved better. So next time you're stuck in your city's traffic, spare a thought for Manila, where 5 days a year disappear into gridlock, where the ground sinks while floods rise, where brilliant plans gather dust while makeshift solutions compound into catastrophe. Because Manila's story isn't just about one city's failure. It's a warning about what happens when we forget that cities are built for people, not the other way around.